There we go. That's a live feed right
Oh, it's
there.
a live feed and I'm
It's a
rubbing my
live feed
eyes.
right there.
Hello.
Oh my.
Oh my.
We are live and it's twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank. Yay.
Chat room, what's up? Hey
Jerry, what's
Nate.
up?
What's up?
What's up? What's up, everybody? Hi, bud.
Let me
I don't know
get
if you
out of
can
the
see him.
game
No,
real
he's
quick.
just on the edge of the screen for Marconin. Now he moved over. He did sit up on my table though. He did hang out up here.
Yeah.
Hi, chat room. It's Saturday. How are we doing
Oh,
today? Yes, we're gonna do the stretchy thing.
that was a good stretch.
That was
Oh,
a good stretch.
lots of things popped. So that was good.
Pop, 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 straight up the back.
hmm
Yes, that's the way to go.
Ah,
Get yourself a good chair where you can bend your back like that.
I need to get a new one. I was looking at gamer chairs uh, right before we got on the call.
Nerd.
I wanted to look cool and be cool as
I
well
want a
as
nerd chair. I want a
I,
gamer chair that's gonna
I
be all
wanted.
bright and shiny.
Yeah, well, it's the one I was looking at is mostly black. It has a little orange trim,
Yeah.
but yeah, because I don't want to buy like the $450 ones.
Ah. You,
I ain't
you
got
know,
that.
I think about that, and then I think about how much I use that chair.
Uh huh.
And then you can kind of calculate, it's the same thing about buying a computer. When you think
True.
about buying a computer and you think about how much time you spend on it,
hmm
you know? But,
That's true. That's true.
and
But
all the other things you don't do in lieu of having it.
uh huh. I think once I get off the traveling gig, if I ever do, then I'll invest in a chair because right now I won't be needing it for much longer. So it would just sit in the room. Plus, I have cats, and
They like to claw
they
things.
like they like to climb and claw and,
Yes.
and do all that.
Yes. Oh, it's Saturday. It's not very cold here again. That's good. We finally warmed up a
Hey,
little bit.
what is it in the teens?
It was actually almost 30 today. Felt
Oh
like
wow,
downright balmy when I went outside. So,
man.
like, it is downright balmy outside. And we're just like, yeah, it's 30 degrees. I almost want to open my coat, walk around without your coat buttoned up in the winter.
Oh yeah.
Dude, that's too. I'm reading this story in the chat room from Nate.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So basically, you're punking waitresses because people are putting you on Skype on the table. So you're virtually dining with your friends. That's how it works.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Oh, if
cool.
I'd known that, I would have called into that.
It should be fun though.
Yeah. Can I
Uh,
get a piece of pie too?
can I have a pie? Cause that'd be cool.
Yeah. I was told there'd be punch and pie.
Oh really? Punch and pie.
Yeah, punch and
Punch
pie.
and pie. Oh, you're great. I love it. I love it.
I
I
mean,
love it.
seriously.
Bring it on.
Huh?
Bring it on. Yeah, I didn't know if that was a clearing my throat to start bringing it on, or if it was my
Uh,
clearing my throat because it was too hard on my throat.
well, it's I haven't really worked on Cartman in so
Oh,
long
really?
because I know, if you see the movie Basketball, it's got Trey Parker and Matt Stone in it, and that was the first time I actually saw him do the Cartman voice.
Yep.
And he talks like this, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys are this." So that's how he does it. It's
Yes.
kind of like the first time I saw Seth MacFarlane do Peter Griffin. He talks out of the side of his mouth.
Well,
And that's
yeah,
how you
because
get.
you have to have that lisp sound or it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
hmm
Yeah.
That's how I like watching voice actors when they do their voices because then that's half the fun is copying what they do and trying to make it work, make it sound at least in the ballpark of what they do.
I know. And it's not easy to do it. So
Mm-mm, not at all.
the chat room is highly distracting with their pie stuff.
I know. I want pie so much.
What's with your pie stuff? This is
I need
very...
some pie. Please, can I have pie?
Is there a delivery service that brings pie to homes? Because that would be great. I don't want to go outside anymore. Not like I'm going to go
Yeah.
outside right now. I'm kind of tied to the computer for the next couple
Just
hours.
yeah. Oh man. We could take do a mobile triple T
Oh
and just
God.
like Skype on our phones, like, hey, yeah, you got this issue, and yeah, I'd like a double order of the Oreo pie, please. The two of those,
There
one
would
for the
be
road.
a bit difficulty to actually broadcast that, but it would
Yeah,
actually be in and to record it, but it would
yeah,
work.
we can find the technology.
We can make it fly. Oh,
Uh,
my arms
yep,
are.
just a few weeks till Pi Day.
That's true.
Mm,
314.
yep,
314.
that's the date that my friends Queenie and Rick are getting married on
Oh.
because it's Pi Day.
Oh, seriously?
That's the reason.
Is it like in the middle of the week or something?
Uh,
Pi Day?
I can't remember. Let's see. Actually, it's on a Saturday.
Oh, see? Now that makes sense. They probably like made the timing for their engagement so that they could be there or like
Yeah.
get
Oh well,
married on a Saturday.
yeah. Well, they've been married for years. So they were going to get it done. I think they were going to do it on what was it? Like 12, 13, 12, 13, 14 was the date
Okay.
they were going to do,
Yep.
but they didn't get that. She didn't get it together in time. So she's like, well, let's just pick another nerdy date. And it worked out that Pi Day was on Saturday
Well,
this
there
year.
you go. I'm just going to get rid of the snot in my nose.
Yep.
I know everybody wanted to hear that, so thank you.
Yeah.
I apologize in advance for my snotty nose. My snotty nose would have caused some problems for the chat tonight. So,
You know, Jules, you've got a fairly good British accent, I would say. You've got a good
you.
place to start from.
thank you. It falls around a lot. Like sometimes, sometimes it goes a little Cockney, and sometimes it goes very British and very, very proper. And if I
Yeah.
sit there and listen to Kingsman, and you listen to Michael Caine has a bit of
Michael Caine.
Michael Caine is it's a deeper, more
It's a
sounding.
deeper, and he sounds like he's talking with more of his mouth than you think.
Yes, and there was marbles in its mouth. No, I
It
think
does
that was
sound
really
like
bad.
it. You know, if you say Michael Caine's name in his accent, it sounds like you're talking about your illegal drugs.
Michael Caine.
Have you seen Michael Caine?
That was a jokerang right there. I was
Yeah,
just
there
like,
you go.
Where? Oh, I got it. I got it. I
There we
figured it out. That's awesome.
Oh man, yeah.
You are right, Dresden. You can't take the sky from me because Firefly is the way it is. It's the what? It's the way it is, right?
I've got my Jules Meetin shirt, my Back to the Future one on.
I love that shirt.
Me too.
It's great. It's awesome.
One of my favorites. My favorite.
And that's your Forrest Gump accent. That's my favorite.
My favorite. Hello, cat. Come here.
I
And
had
she
made
ignores me.
I'd made the kiddo watch. Was Winnie gonna come up and say hi?
She might. Well, come here.
Oh, she's
Come
making
here.
her presence known.
Come here. This is the outside cat.
The outside. Oh, she just does not look thrilled to be picked up.
She's not a big fan of being picked up.
But
but-
she's letting you.
Whoa.
Oh,
Hello.
okay.
Okay.
She's gonna say, "I do not want to stay here."
She's quick to claw you. She doesn't have hey, just let me stay here with my claws out a little bit so I can have a little traction,
Yeah.
and go straight to the hack and slash Freddy Krueger sharp knives. So there's I have scratches on me just from her, like, hey, you want to let me sit on the chair? And I'm like, no, you need to get down. And she just like sinks in real quick. So it's kind of,
She's like,
I have to be touch and go
"You are
with her."
not telling me to do anything, biatch.
Yeah, exactly. She's very lovable, and she loves to be pet, and like if she'll come up on the desk and like, you know, forehead hit me with her forehead and just,
Yeah.
you know, noggin like that, and she likes that. But you know, you have to pet her on her terms completely. very much so than in my other cats.
They're like,
So,
oh, love me all the time. Love
yeah.
me.
Yeah, all the time. Hey, Mugaiva.
We've got a nice full chat room tonight. It's very nice.
I would say so. I need to do like a full on Michael Caine.
You do. It's quite good. It's much better than mine. So, and I love it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Michael Caine.
And guys, take my advice and Jules's newly found advice or newly verified advice and go see Kingsman.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Please go see Kingsman.
We were talking about it
week.
before the show, and of course, now that we've both seen it, we can spill all the stuff. But we won't do that here.
Yeah, we did that earlier. We won't do that now.
We won't do that here.
Please.
But if you go see it, you will love it, most likely, because you're nerds, and this is such a nerdy movie, especially if you have any Bond film love in your heart. Yeah, definitely. So
it perfectly walks the line between Casino Royale and The Spy Who Shagged Me. It's right in between Austin Powers and James Bond, and
it's very, very funny.
Oh,
and it's fun. The action is great.
It is, yes. The camera angles that they use for some of the fight scenes and the perspective changes are, you can tell that they based it off a comic book, or it's from a comic book because of the way that the action runs.
Yeah.
The slow motion sequences aren't they're slow motion. They're slow motion-y enough just to get the point across, and without being just another slow-mo scene, without being cliche.
Yeah,
is the word I was looking for.
Yeah, and they were aware of their own campiness. Very self-aware of it, which made it awesome. So
yeah, it's
definitely
best
recommend.
movie I've seen in a while.
Recommend. Man, the gang's all here. Everybody's here.
They are.
I'm gonna sound check us here. Make sure you can hear.
This podcast is a part of the Signals Media.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm. Hello,
Alrighty, Roo. I'm ready. Marconin, are you ready?
Let me double check my setup to make sure that I'm ready. Get everything squared away. There's the thing. Yep, I have. Phone is on silent.
You come up on Google Docs as anonymous sheep, by the way.
Yeah, I'm on one of my other accounts when I look at the thing, so I'd have to switch over.
So you mouse down to the point where your name is, and it just said anonymous sheep in green. Well, anonymous sheep, you're ready.
Yes, the anonymous sheep is ready.
Chat room, are you guys ready? I think they're pumped up. There's some tipsy going on in there. There's some fun and games. There's some partying going on. I mean, this could be a good thing. This could be a good thing.
Yes.
I like this. They're pumping us up. Ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to pump you up.
Yes. Still need
Let's
those sound
it.
files from you. Pump
yes, I thought about that right before the show.
Right as you clapped. Oh, I do. I need the ready check sound. I need that one too. This is my ready check sound.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Get me that one too. Can you get me that one too?
Yeah, I can do that. Okay. Anything you need, just let me know and I can grab it.
I will tell you my list of stuff, and that's going to be on it. So we're gonna start doing a ready check for the chat room, and we're gonna do it for reals, for realsies, yo.
Sweet.
All
okay,
right.
yeah, that's great. Yeah.
All right, let's count it down in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to Tauren Think Tank, the World of Warcraft podcast for you, the World of Warcraft player.
Welcome to episode 135 of Tauren Think Tank. Today is Saturday, February 21st of 2015. It is a raucous chat room in this evening, 9:06 in the PM on the Central Time Zone, and I am Jules, and I am here with a very sophisticated gentleman, the one and the only Marconin.
Well, Jules, there is a saying that manners maketh the man.
Click.
So I therefore have manners.
we're just a little bit channeling Kingsman, the Secret Service right now, because Marconin went to see it last weekend. I went to see it today, and he was so excited that I had seen it because he finally had somebody to talk to about it, and I could talk to him about it because I knew he'd seen it, and it was just like, so before the show even went live, we were like, oh, we gotta talk about this. Oh my god! And then we tried out our British accents, my very poor one, and Marconan's quite good ones. So we'll work on that.
Yeah, we can look through a few things and see where we go.
Lovely. So we're back on our Saturday night normal time. And we're super excited to be back on Saturday, which is our normal time. It's been a busy week, and we've had a lot of things going on, and there's going to be a lot to talk about in the show, just as there always is. But we'll start with Marconan to see what you've been up to right now.
Well, I have been sick all week.
You really went down for the count.
Oh, I was. It was during our raid night on Monday night. I started to feel a little, I don't feel so good. I'm kind of tired. Let's get this raid night over with. I can go to bed. And I got snowed in anyway on Monday.
Yeah, you did.
And so I had a snow day on Monday, and then Tuesday it was a snow day and a sick day because I had no energy. It was some kind of like stomach bug or something that my grandmother had last week, and I went to go by to get some stuff from her, and I guess that's when I got it. So I was sick until I actually didn't start feeling completely well until this morning. So all week I was sick, and MacGyver made a mention that I hadn't shaved, and yeah, I have been pretty much bedridden most of the week. And I was like, I'll just go ahead and go to the show with a little bit of scruff on. So
I don't think they're going to kick you out. I'm not kicking you out for scruff.
Yeah.
So I think you're okay. I think you're good.
No, I mean, at least I showered today. At least I did that.
And this is a very good reason why we don't have smell-o-vision either. So
yeah.
I mean, I took a shower before the show too, so we're all good. I mean, we smell great, but you guys can't tell. So we could be rank for 2 weeks and you wouldn't know.
Yeah. Oh man.
And then the realization just sank in, and we're like, no, we wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I would. That would be bad. That's like, yeah, that's a funny idea. Oh, that's a bad idea. Why would I do that? Gross.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Believe me, so am I.
Yeah.
It was bad. Like just no energy to do anything, and then when I laid down, I didn't have any like desire to sleep. So it was like back and forth. I didn't know what to do. The cats were like, you look bad, man. Like what? They insisted that I like would lay down to cuddle with them or sit down. And they were like, put their paws on me, like sit down, sit down, rest, stay. You know, so it was quite the week. But since I did feel good yesterday, after working a very long shift at work to make up on my hours, I joined in for the very tail end of the 100th episode live broadcast of Azeroth Roundtable.
Oh, how cool.
With John and Ben.
Nice.
I caught the last 15 minutes or so. And afterwards, John and Ben decided to stream a little video games. And they brought me in on a 5-man few games of Heroes of the Storm.
Nice.
So, and it was the first time.
I was playing Heroes last night too.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, for a while.
Cool.
It was pretty early when I went to bed because I was tired. But
yeah. Oh, this was kind of late. It was kind of late. But I ended up. It was the first time I actually played Heroes, not in the tutorial. So it was my first game out into the game as well as with other people, and it made it a lot more enjoyable. That's what they always say. You know, if you're kind of like, I don't like Heroes that much, they're like, I just play with friends, you'll like it. Yeah. And they're right, because I played with John and Ben and Ro, who is a really good raid leader on Heroes because he's the only one. He's like the most experienced out of the 5 of us, and also Midnight, who's our good friend and chat room wrangler.
Yep,
she joined in as well, and so it was a lot of fun. We played, I think, 3 rounds and won 2 of the 3. It was against the computer, so you know we're starting out a little tame, but that's okay.
That is awesome. Yeah, we tried to do the PvP stuff. I was with Spencer and Robin and Asimi from our raid team, and me and Arcane. And so for a while, we had our friend Randy with us, who had to leave, and then Asimi came in to replace him, and we were playing PvP. And we got our asses handed to us in PvP because I am like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm playing. So, yeah. So we went back to the cooperative, and then it was like, we can win.
Yeah, there you go.
The computer is dumb, and I can win. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Ro knows the secrets of like how not the secrets really, but he's learned how the AI thinks.
Yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, they're about to go do this and this. So let's go up here and go down there and go do this.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, that's cool.
Well, and it teaches you as a newer player, it teaches you what the map does too. What are the objectives on the map? Because it's not like League of Legends is where you're just simply just pushing lanes to try and push back your opponent and get their towers down. You're trying to defeat the objectives or capture the objectives or whatever it is you've got to do. And if you're doing PvP and you don't do that, you're pretty much screwed. So it's a good way to learn.
It really is, and it was very cool because we did the one where one of the maps is where you could be the dragon shrines.
Yep.
On the top and bottom, and and I got to be the dragon on one of that, and that was cool. I just went straight to the base and was just breathing fire on the towers, and I was like, yeah, that's right. Bow before me, and then they killed me, So
be the dragon, Marconin.
I am the dragon.
And you're 100% right. Heroes of the Storm is so much more fun when you play with friends. And especially even if you're a noob and you're just playing with a bunch of buddies, it's just so much better than playing with random groups because you can coordinate. You can talk about what you're planning to do and not have somebody randomly just pinging the map going, go there, go there, go there. And you're just like, okay, I ran there and now you're dead, Yeah,
now what?
Yeah, and like Spencer is an excellent player, and so he knows how these maps work, and he's like, okay, so you go mid, you go top, and you go bottom. And it, then it sounds really dirty, and we all laugh, and then we do our thing. So that is what we do.
Yeah.
Because we're childish and we're silly, and that's what we do. So yeah.
And so for at the very beginning of the week, before I got sick, we did a little thing called Cat on Fire. And how did that go, Jules?
Well, we kind of just stuck to where we were the last time. We got 2 of the bosses down in Blackrock Foundry, and we got stuck on the 3rd. We tried switching it around a little bit, still got stuck. And so we're at that point right now. I think we're a pretty unique raid team. We're varying levels of experience. We have people who are mythic raiders who are raiding with us, and they have alts that are in our group. And then we have people who aren't as experienced, who have been raiding for shorter amounts of time, maybe not have raided at a higher level before. But the one thing we have is that we're all friends, that we get along really well, and that we enjoy raiding with each other. That's like the big thing. So what happened with me especially is that I'm kind of used to pushing the envelope. I've done that a lot of my raiding careers. I've just been pushing the envelope for progression. And, for a while I raided at the heroic level when that was the top level, and so it's a bit of a different mindset for me when I've got people who are not as pressured on the experience. And we in the early times of the night, we're laughing and joking and punning away, and instigated by one Marconin a lot of times with the pun jokes.
I forgot. I was actually going to continue the puns. I was planning it this evening. I was gonna hand it off to you and see what you could do with it.
We had a running hand joke going on because of Black Hand. Right? It was because of
it was Kargath.
Kargath, okay.
Because midnight. Because for our raid team, midnight always gets followed by Kargath.
Yep.
So we were like, well, what are we gonna do now that we're not going there with Kargath? Is he gonna be lonely? And it's like, well, and then we started talking about his hand, and then we started throwing in hand puns. And I was like, well. I was like, so midnight, did he give you his digits at least, or did you give her his digits at least so you can keep in contact, and they're like, well, really got to hand it to you. And
this is this went on for almost an hour, was these kinds of pun jokes. And what I realized as we were talking about progression versus having fun is that we need to focus a little bit more on the having fun part. and not so much on the pressure to try to progress, because that's not what we're about. So unfortunately, we are at this point where we're like, okay, our gear and our experience has hit this point where we're not quite able to progress much further without getting more gear. And so we're going to, I sat down with my co-raid leader, Trelant, and we sat down, we talked about it, and I said, maybe we should just back off a little bit in terms of trying to push progression, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to move back and go to High Mall and start working on some heroic fights, which will keep us having fun. That's the point. It's the point of what we wanted to do.
Absolutely.
So we're adjusting our strategy, and we're going to keep adjusting that strategy with the goal always in mind that we're having a great time getting gear, killing bosses as much as we can, and enjoying it. So that's what we're going to do. Blackrock Foundry will be there for us. It's going to be a while until the new raid will come out, so we'll be there. We'll get there. And I'm okay with that. It's one night a week. We're just going to be enjoying our time. So that is where we're at. And I feel good about it. I feel like we're doing the right things because we're looking at the team and what the team needs and what the team wants. And it came pretty clear to me when I heard how animated we were in the early part of the night and how quiet we were at the second half of the night when we were trying to progress. And how much not as fun as it was to do that.
Yeah, we were pushing Beast Lord, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was we were making progress, but it was still kind of clunky, and so I feel good that we're going to change it up a little bit. So that's what Cat on Fire's doing right now. And we got a couple things for you guys this week, a little bit of news and updates. Jerry Lawson, who was on our show about a month ago now, she has started a web series talking about some of the subjects that she covered on our show and a lot more. You guys can find it on YouTube. She's out there under Jerry Lawson, GeriLawson. And she's got her first one out right now, so you can check out what she's got to say. And it's a lot tied to Tauren Think Tank because that's how it kind of got started for her, was to do that. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing her thoughts and explanations, she said she got a lot of questions from our listeners, and so she's going to be working through some of those questions as part of the web series. So you can
very cool.
Yeah, and this is our second week into the Pen Pal program signups. We have one more week to go. The last day is going to be the 28th, which is a week from today. And so you have time to sign up. Please do it. If you're listening to the show right now, you're on the road, make a note that you're going to go do it right now. It's just a bunch of simple questions that you can fill out and get your name in there so you don't miss out. You go to bit.do/TTT penpal2. That's the short link for it. It's a Google form, super easy to fill out, just a few demographic questions to help us match you with somebody, and there you go. So we are almost to the point where we were last time, where we closed it for the number of people who have signed up. We'd like to exceed it. So keep signing up. We got a lot of people so far. So keep going in there. We'd love it. All right. Anything else? Anything else you wanted to talk about before we jump into discussion?
Not really. Nothing I can think of.
All right, then we're going to go and do some discussion topic right now.
Let's kick around some ideas, not gnomes.
That poor gnome.
Every week.
That poor gnome.
It's my brother.
All right. So we're going to take this discussion topic a little bit personal to me, because there's been a couple of episodes on this show where I have talked about some things that are happening in my world related to my in-laws and Kane's parents. And unfortunately, last weekend, there was a negative update that came around that happened exactly on the day we were going to be recording the show. And I was too emotionally overwhelmed at that point to talk about it without being very, very, very angry. So I thought it would be good to bring it up in the discussion topic now. And I think Conan is going to be, he knows some of this story. He doesn't know the whole thing. But I think this is going to be a what would you do in my shoes kind of discussion topic. What would you have done if you were in this situation? Would you? I'm pretty comfortable. I'll put this right out there. Pretty comfortable right now with how things went from the way I handled it. But everybody looks at things differently, and I appreciate the feedback that you guys have been sending about this as we go on. So, all right, buckle in. Here it comes.
Ready to roll.
All right. So last weekend was Valentine's Day. And Kane and I had an offer, even after that whole dinner thing with my in-laws. And if you guys haven't heard this story, there are 2 episodes that have this story kind of unfolding on it. One was 3 weeks ago, and the other one was about right after Christmas. It was like right after the Christmas episode, right in there. So you can go back and it's in the front of the show if you wanted to hear the previous parts of this story. Basically, my mother-in-law is not a nice person, and she has not been a nice person to me. So I haven't been talking to her. I haven't been spending time with my in-laws at all. I haven't been attending family events, nothing. And a couple weeks ago, they wound up inviting me to come to dinner, apologized for whatever they did, which they didn't even know. And it didn't go well. And that story is in a couple weeks ago, a couple episodes ago. So at that dinner, they offered to take my stepdaughter. I'm going to call her the kiddo, just to keep her anonymous. So they offered to take the kiddo for Valentine's Day so we could go out to dinner. And they offered. We didn't talk about it. We said, okay. So we took them up on the offer. They were going to keep her overnight. She comes home on Sunday, and Kane was at work both Sunday and Saturday mornings. He had to work all day. And so I was by myself here. I was watching her. She came home to me on Sunday. And not 10 minutes after she'd gotten home, she said, I need to talk to you about something serious. And she said to me, I don't know if I feel comfortable going to Grandma and Grandpa's house anymore. So talk about your heart stopping when you hear that, and you everything goes through your head as a parent. And I just said, okay, what happened? Tell me what happened. And she told me that Grandma has been saying some very unpleasant things to her about me, a lot of things about me, a lot of things about Kane, and then her family in general. And she's been very, very hurt by it. And she's like, it's been going on for months, Mom. It's been going on, I'm her stepmother. I'm the kiddo's stepmother. So, I'm not her mom. Her mom, she goes to her mom's house half time, comes to our house half time. And, so she says, Grandma says these things about you, that you don't love me, that you don't care about me, that you don't do things for me. And it hurts me so bad that she says that. And she starts crying, and she just fell into my arms sobbing. And I'm like, it's okay, honey. It's okay. I'm so sorry that this is happening. And she says, Daddy doesn't care about them. Daddy doesn't care about helping out. He doesn't want to hear about it. And I was like, oh, okay, what's happening here? And she said, I got into a fight with Grandma a couple weeks ago. And she said to me, well, kiddo, how are things going with you at school? And she said, well, I've got a couple good friends here and there, Grandma. But it's just a couple good friends, and I'm happy with those. And she said, well, kiddo, you could have more friends if your hair wasn't so weird. And kiddo's hair, she has very funky hair. She likes to look different. Both of the sides of her head are shaved, and they're shaved bald. And she's got black hair that she likes to pull back into like a mohawk thing. It's pretty cool. For a funky kid thing. But
yeah, it's unique.
It's unique. She doesn't look like everybody else. And she says to me and to Kane all the time, I don't want to look like everybody else. And we've said, that's great, honey. We understand that, and we're going to support it. But you got to understand that there are people that aren't going to always accept that with you, especially at school. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be that way. And you have to be okay with that, to know that if you want to look different, people are going to not always accept that. And she's like, I know. And okay, we try to Try to encourage her to be who she wants to be and do what she wants. And so she said, Grandma told me that the reason that we fight is because I don't look normal. And she can't handle me looking like I'm not normal. And at that point, I wanted to punch something.
Yeah.
Kiddo is 12 years old. And I am sorry. But I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you were raised and how you were raised. If you're a grandparent, I expect that you're going to love unconditionally.
Yeah.
I expect that, you're gonna treat your grandchild with respect, at least to that point. And I mean, she's asked me, Kiddo has asked me. She said, "Do you like my hair, Mom?" And I said, "You know how I feel. I'm not the biggest fan of this hairstyle, but it's your hair, it's not mine." And she's like, "I know." And so, but I love the color of it. I just don't like the style of it. And it's just, that's just me. So Kane is not home for all of this. And she's very upset. And I said, Dad is going to be home in a little bit. And we're going to talk to him and we're going to tell him what's going on. And so we did after he got home. And I prepped him. I sent him some messages and I said, we're going to have to talk about your parents because this is bad. And so he comes home and she told him everything that she told me, and he takes notes on his phone to, her words, what she said, how she said it, that kind of thing, because she doesn't have the best memory at all. And so I look at the two of them and I say, well, what do you want to do here? Because she said to us, Kiddo said to us specifically, I don't feel safe going over there. I don't feel like I don't feel comfortable going over there. She's saying these horrible things about you, Mom. She's saying these horrible things about Dad. I don't feel comfortable going there anymore. And I said, well, you're not going to be going over there anymore if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So I said, well, what do you want to do? And Kiddo said, I want to go over and I want to tell them how I feel. And I looked at Kane and I'm like, oh, crap. Because I know what's going to happen. I knew what happened with me. I knew how it went with me. They don't listen. They don't hear. So, but she wanted to do this. She wanted to go over there and tell them how she felt and that she didn't want to go over there anymore. And we said, well, if that is what you want, then we'll do that. And so Kane texted his mother, found out they were home, and asked if we could come over, and we did. And we sit down in their living room.
Oh, boy.
Good Lord. We're on the sofa. Okay, so let me lay out the scene here. They have a very long rectangular living room. Very, very long rectangular living room. They have chairs on the far ends of each of them, and then a couch on the long wall. So it's me and Kane and Kiddo sitting on the couch. She's between us. My mother-in-law is on the far left, and my father-in-law is on the far right.
Divide and conquer.
Yes. So Kiddo sits down, and she goes, I don't know how to say this, so I'm just going to say this. And she turns to her grandmother, and she unloads on her.
Man. I
sat there and I couldn't even look at my mother-in-law. I had my eyes on Kiddo, and I'm watching her. And she was just like, I was watching this child stand up to a bully, to a person who had told her she was not worthy, to a person who told her that she needed to change who she was, to a person that told her her parents were not suitable for her, that they didn't treat her right, that they didn't love her.
Yeah.
And she sat there and she told them what she thought. And I was like, damn, girl.
When you turn 21, I'm taking you for a drink for that.
I know.
That takes some guts.
I was just floored. Because she is not, she's a very emotional child. She's nervous as hell around bullies at school. And she turned to her grandmother and she said, Grandma, you are mean to people. You make them feel bad. You say things about people behind their backs and you hurt people. And I was just like, damn. And the only things that they did is that they tried to justify their actions by arguing with her. At some point said to her, "Kiddo, how dare you say that? You can't talk to me like that." And when my mother-in-law started to make excuses and say, "You don't know what I've been through. You don't know what goes on in my life." And Kiddo looks at her. She goes, "Grandma, stop it. Stop making excuses." Whoa.
Yeah.
And the both of them did this. They did not. Like, I know that if that child sat across from me or from Kane and told us that she hurt so bad that and she's crying and she's like, "You hurt me and you're not there for me and you make me feel bad about who I am," that it would be like a knife to my heart. And all I would want to do is tell her that I am sorry for making you feel that way and it was never my intention.
Yeah, immediately.
Yes, like
immediately you're like, what did I do and what can I do to fix this? Let me try and fix this problem.
Yeah, because
Not
you
just,
love them.
Exactly.
This is somebody who you love, and if you've unintentionally hurt someone, you would feel like that. And they never apologized to her. They never said that they were sorry to her. They never told her they loved her. It was horrible, Marconin. It was so horrible. And Kane put this so well. He just said, "You know what? I don't care if she is remembering things that aren't even true. I don't care," because she could very well have just interpreted things her own way, not seen what actually happened, not understood what you were trying to say. She could be wrong about all of it. But what's not wrong is how she feels about it. And how you made her feel about it. She's telling you that. And all you are more focused on at this point is to be right than to try to fix that.
Yeah. And
it was heartbreaking. And my mother-in-law, she looks at her and she says, she looks at her, she goes, "Kiddo, you told me Jules, you told me I was a better mother to you than Jules was." And that poor kid, she looked at me and she goes, "I'm going to own up to that. I did that. I did say that to her at one point, and I am sorry, and I didn't mean it, and I am so sorry." And she started crying and she just hugged me and she's like, "I'm so sorry." And I said, "It's okay. Yeah. It's okay. I understand. It's okay." And, but that's the way that my mother-in-law works, is to try to she tried to throw her under the bus.
Yeah. Anything to deflect it from her and her problem, and anything at all to get it away from her.
It was awful. And so after the round and round and round and the excuses and not listening, at one point Kane said to them, "Did you or did you not say things behind our backs to Sydney?" Sorry, I just said her name. To Kiddo. "Did you or did you not say these things to her?" And they looked. My mother-in-law couldn't say it. She was like, "Well, if I say yes, then I'm a terrible person, and if I say no, then you're not going to believe me."
Well, how about you tell the truth and own up to it?
Right. So then we're saying, just tell the truth. Did you or did you not? And she's like, she couldn't say anything. We asked her 11 times. 11 times. We turned to her and just said, "Just tell us the truth. Did you do this?" And it was my father-in-law that finally spoke up and said, "Look, okay, we said it. Okay, we did." It was like, well, thank you, but that's not. So I wound up being so frustrated for this poor kid. And she, at one point, it just kept going around and round and around. And Kiddo looked at me and she looked at Kane and she said, "I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I just want to go home." And just said, we were like, "We're here for you. We're here because you wanted to be. So if you want to go home, then we'll go home." Yeah. And so that's what we did, is we went home. And they haven't called us. They haven't tried to they haven't tried to contact her. They haven't tried to contact Kane. That was on Sunday, and they haven't done a thing. And in the chat room, excuse me, Navox is asking how old my mother-in-law is. She is in her early 70s. And my father-in-law is in his 70s. But, that's been Kane's whole life.
Yeah.
But we always said that when it came to the kiddo, we wanted her to have a good relationship with her grandparents.
Absolutely.
And we never talked about them negatively in front of her. I mean, they knew we'd had problems with each other. Obviously, she saw it. But we said, you know what? Our problems with them are our problems, and they're not your problems. And so we want you to have a relationship with them if you want it. And she had them up on a pedestal forever, ever. I mean, they were her heroes. And she is now at the point where she doesn't want to see them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, just even if you've got problems with family, don't turn a kid into a guided missile. Don't use kids as weapons in your problems with your family members.
Yeah.
That's like, that's supposed to be like the unwritten rule that you're not supposed to do that. But
No.
I know it happens a lot, not just in this case, but in others. But it's just like like I told you when you told me about this on Sunday, I was like, I'm half tempted to get my grandmother and bring her up there, because my grandmother, she's in her 80s, and my granny don't play. She loves me, and she loves every single one of her grandkids and great grandkids, and she's a good old Southern lady. She will talk some sense into that woman, or with her voice or her fists, one of the two.
I love
my
it.
granny don't play.
I love it. See, Granny Conan, man.
Man, she's a solid woman too. She broke her back, came back from it, and is working in the yard and all that, working in the yard every once in a while and everything. She's a stellar woman, and that's what makes it so angry. It just infuriates me that someone else's granny would treat them like that.
Yeah. And that is the hardest thing is your dad.
My dad's in the chat room, so that's his mom I'm talking about. And she's, that's what, it makes it so hard for me to even fathom this.
I know.
Is that my granny has always been there for me. And even if, like I dyed my hair black in high school, in early college, and she didn't like it. But I was like, well, it's okay, Granny, it's only temporary, because she's like, I don't like it, but just like you did with kiddo's hair, is that you're like, I don't like it, but it's your hair, so I'm just going to tell you my opinion, but you can keep on doing it. They wouldn't like you need to shave it or anything. So it's
the acceptance part is frustrating as hell for me, because when they talk about her having a few number of friends at school, I mean, she is a sensitive child. She's a great kid. But she definitely has that mouth goes before brain goes kind of thing, where she'll just blurt out things before she thinks. And it causes her some problems sometimes. And she knows this, working on it at school. We've been working on it with her for years. But she has some problems sometimes keeping friends, because she can just say things without thinking. And so for her to say she's got a couple of good friends that she feels comfortable with is really a strong thing for her. And self-esteem at 12 and in all of this core age is so important. I mean, we were hearing stories from her talking about how kids at school are being horrible, saying to her, if you died, no one would care. These are the things that kids say to each other in school. It's hard enough for them to get through this stuff. And the adults in their lives are supposed to be the ones that tell them, to the point where you're like, yeah, Grandma, I know, I know you love me, whatever I am, blah, blah, blah. But you need that core.
You need something to stand on. When the rest of the world is going against you, you need something to stand on. And for kids growing up, it's like, it's like they need their family in whatever form that takes. They need their family.
Yep.
To hold them up when no one else will.
Yep.
And
it's hard. So I guess my question in this whole thing to people, I mean, I feel comfortable with what we did. We allowed her to give her side to her grandparents and tell them. But we also knew that how they were going to react. We knew how they were going to treat her. I mean, we were hoping it wasn't going to be like the way they treated us, but it was exactly the same. And so I've thought about it and said, should we have let her? Should we have just held back and not done this? And, my feeling is like what we did is we allowed her to have her say, and, knowing that they were going to reject her like this. It's just it's hard. So she had to see it for herself. And so this whole thing about this discussion topic was more of, what would you do if you were in my position? Would you have let her do this? Would you have let her go into this situation with the grandparents and tell them how she felt? I mean, I feel like they just don't understand the whole feelings thing. They just don't get it. It doesn't register. So
that's definitely a possibility.
I don't know. So I guess I will just say to the audience, this isn't as much of a discussion topic as we normally do. I wanted to kind of combine it into two things, but it can actually continue the discussion after this podcast too, for future shows, and talk about it. If you think that there are things that we could have done differently in this, I would love to hear that. But for me, I feel confident. We feel confident in what we did. It hurt her to no end, and we knew it would, but she saw it, and she understood how they were going to treat her when the going came rough. So, and that's so unfortunate that any kid has to see that at 12.
It really is. It really is. And I'll put my 2 cents in. I think you guys did the right thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because 12 years old, that's a lot of maturity. Yeah. Because I would have, at that age, I would have been too scared to say something like that. But I know Kane said earlier he was wondering if he should let her say all those things, kind of have the no filter thing.
Yeah.
But I think in this one instance there was just too much built up, and just to let her have it that one time, to let it out, I think that was the right thing to do, and just let her come and confront them like one human being to 2 others, saying, "Hey, I've got some problems with this, and you're making me feel this way."
Yeah. And she unloaded, man, and she did not hold back. And normally, I think if we, in terms of respectfulness, we may have normally held her back a little bit, but we wanted her to talk about her feelings. So, and we wanted to let her go. And so we told her in the car, we said, "This is all going to be about you. We're not going to say very much, and because this is about you and how you feel." So we just sat there to support her. She kept holding onto my hand and onto my arm, and I just kept telling her, "You're doing a great job, kiddo. Just, tell them how you feel. Talk about your feelings." Because she'd get off on topic a little bit, and I say, "Talk about how you feel. How did that make you feel?" That kind of thing. So, so there you go. There's the update on what's going on in my world. I don't even know if there'll be more to tell or not, because we haven't heard from them for a week. So, which is telling unto itself.
Well, maybe it'll take it could take a little bit to sink in for them.
Yeah.
If they're as kind of, don't want to say thick-headed about it, or it just takes a while to process that. Oh, they actually meant she actually meant what she said.
Yeah.
Gives them time to process, maybe.
Yeah, that's what Kane said too. He said they may not even believe that it's true. Like they may not. We thought too that they were thinking we put them up to this. Or we put her up to this. That we told her what to say, and it was like, no, she did this for herself. This is how she feels. That's why we didn't say very much. The only times I talked to her or encouraged her was to say, talk about how you feel. Don't tell them what they did. Don't tell them who they are. Tell them how you feel. So it was not good, but it's over. And so I literally did the show last Sunday. Still, it was an hour before we went live that I got home, and just processing this, and I'm like, okay, Tauren Think Tank is going to be my distraction from this right now. I can't talk about it right now because I'm going to go off, but I can make it a distraction. So, All right. So if you guys have a discussion topic for the show, it can be WoW related. It can be interpersonal related. We'll take them all. What the hell? Just do them all. So you can do that at questions@taurenThinkTank.com. We've been tending to branch off into more just stuff related to WoW, but not necessarily. The one thing we all have in common is that we are all playing WoW, most likely. So the stuff that we deal with as players is just as compatible to the show as the stuff that happens to us in game. So,
Yep.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about some of those friends at Doghouse Systems, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Get that little thing in there. It's a pretty music.
Yeah.
Conan's
Your
head starts to sway a little bit.
your in-laws may not get it, but the folks over at Doghouse Systems get it. They get what it's like to be a gamer and to fill your needs in a really awesome desktop or laptop. Isn't that right, Jules?
That is one hell of a transition. I love it. That is beautiful. And I agree completely. You know, there's some people out there that don't understand what gamers are all about, and they kind of put you down and tell you you're not good enough. But Doghouse Systems doesn't do that. In fact, they're going to tell you that you can be even better than you are today by helping you game at the top of your game. Look at that. Game at the top of your game. Is that something else? You can play Heroes of the Storm and not have issues with, like, lag and issues with trying to figure out where in the map you're supposed to go, where it's... So... Or, you know, that garrison load-in time for some of us is a little bit choppy when you have an older system because there's so many layers that have to come in on that garrison. Doghouse system, man, right there, flies right in because that's what they're made for. And, you know, not only is it the really cool system that makes them great, it's their service and their attitude. They are gamers as well, and they know gamers. They like to help gamers play at the top of their level. So you can go and check out doghousesystems.com. And we have a special offer for all of our listeners. If you wanted to pick up a Doghouse system, you can get double the memory. Brand new gaming system, double the memory. I mean, just boom, right there. I think anybody would want that.
Yeah, that's a great deal. That's one of the costs that whenever you're building your own custom PC, you don't really think about, at least at the very beginning. You think about, oh, well, I need this motherboard, this graphics card, this monitor, this keyboard.
Yeah.
The RAM comes in secondary, and these guys have already got it figured out for you. They'll give you twice as much for the same price if you just do triple T at checkout.
And that's 3 T's in a row.
TTT. Yeah.
Doghousesystems.com. Thank you guys for supporting the show. Thank you for supporting our sponsor. And we love them.
Yes, we do.
We do. All right. And then we're going to get in this. And it is time to talk about somebody else for a change. It's time for the Think Tank.
Torn between options? Let Triple T help you sort it out.
All right, it is Think Tank time. This is the time of the show where we have a letter from one of you talking about an interpersonal dilemma that you are facing. And we've got one from Zytam, who has written to us this week, and here is his letter. Hello, Jules and Mark Honan. On the rare occasions that I can be in the chat room, I'm Zytam. I'm a 48-year-old player that has been in the game for 9+ years. Compared to most of your letters, my issue feels very minor. My issue spans both my real and gaming lives. When I first joined WoW, some of my real-life friends played. I took 2 years off just before Firelands, and when I came back, all my friends had stopped playing, and I knew no one in the game. Over 2 years later, I really still don't know anybody. I feel like I'm a brand new player. I know no one, and I feel like I can barely play my class, even though I'm in the 2 larger guilds in World of Warcraft, and I'm afraid to ask for help. I play as if it's a single-person game. I would like to raid, but I'm not good enough to try to get a raid group. I don't have either the eye level or DPS to raid in anything more than LFR. I'm working on improving, but by the time I'm ready for Highmaul, everyone will be in Blackrock Foundry. I have a similar issue in my non-gaming life. I have very few real-life friends. I only have 3 or 4 people that I would consider close friends and another 5 or 6 that I know through them. I haven't seen even my close friends in almost a year, even though we all live in the same city. We only talk on Facebook, and I think if I stopped posting, it would be months before they missed me. I know at least once when I was forgotten when a get-together was planned. I would like to say it's because of my schedule. I work 12-hour overnight shifts every other Wednesday and every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But it was like this when I had a more normal schedule. I don't want to bring it up with them in case I'm wrong and causes hurt feelings, which I have is what I have isn't the greatest, but it's all I have. One major issue I know is that I'm not comfortable around other people. I feel like I've never learned how to interact with others. I don't know how to deal with nonverbal communication. I feel like every time I do or say something, I'm being judged and found wanting. I start to panic and just close off. I think to some degree I'm just a coward. I'm afraid of rejection, of not being good enough, of saying the wrong thing and making people hate me. I don't know if counseling would help, but my insurance doesn't cover it enough for me to afford it anyway, so that's not really an option. From Zytam.
Yeah.
Okay, we have several things to discuss in this email, but I think that they all kind of fall into one large bucket, and that is a fear of rejection from others. Hi, Winnie.
Cat is crawling across the screen. Sorry about that.
Kitty on the screen.
Yeah.
So fear of rejection, fear of interacting with people, and just a very low self-image is what I have started to see in this email. I think, I'm gonna go out on a limb here with you and say that I think that you probably have you've felt some of these things too in your life, because I know I have in my life, where people, people fear of rejection from people, or that, being left out, or I don't have a lot of good friends, or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially different times in my life, I would feel any number of those things. Well, sometimes all at the same time.
Yeah. And
yeah, I mean,
well, so let's talk a little bit. I go back when I hear the things that he is saying in here, I go into thinking about what it's like to be in school. Because I remember these feelings when I was in school. When I was in grade school, middle school, junior high, high school. And I just, I have to say that it just it brought back some feelings to me reading his email. I feel really bad. So, and Zytam is here in the chat room. So he is here to hear this tonight. So, so let's go back to high school, if you will.
Okay.
if you go back to high school and think about your experience, did you have a very positive experience with interacting with people, with friends, with having long-term good friends, that kind of thing?
I did, because most of my awkward years of growing up was, in like primary and secondary school, or in a primary school and into junior high. But once I got to high school, especially after freshman year, all of the select few friends, because I had a decent number of friends, but most of them were just kind of because I was in band, I knew them, or because I was some friends. There were a core of maybe 3 or 4 friends that I had that were really strong and that I could really just lean on whenever I needed something. And they're still friends today. But yeah, so what about you? Did you have anything like that?
I remember, I think high school was when I realized that there would be people out there that were just going to not be very nice to you. And that they were going to be very self-centered and self-serving. And it's when I learned that, and I'm not saying that it's the only time I've ever learned this. I still learn this to this day. But in high school, when I in grade school and that kind of thing, I developed the skills and maybe some of the bad habits of not necessarily trusting everybody anymore, because people would tend to hurt you because they got, they're focused on their own crap. They're focused on their own, feelings and thoughts and all the things, and they'll do something to hurt you and may not even know it, and all those kind of things. And I still, to this day, have problems with people, connecting with people. I have trust issues. Because I have really high expectations of what it means for someone to be my friend.
Sure.
And maybe it comes from those days of, feeling like I was never good enough, or, people told you you weren't good enough, or that you were, that you didn't deserve to be friends with that person because they're not like you, those things that happen, that those thoughts and that voice inside your head starts to build at that young age to tell you, and it repeats to you as you go on, that you're not good enough. That person is not good enough to be you're not good enough to be their friend, or they're too busy to spend time with you, or you're not worthy of them taking the time to listen to your pathetic problems. This is the voices that happen in heads that I see, and it's something that I struggle with even to this day, and Kane can vouch for that. I deal with it all the time, and it's hard for me to connect with people. Because I almost get to the point where I have such huge high expectations for people who are going to be my friend that they could never live up to the expectations that I would have for them, because they're not superhuman. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to disappoint me. They're going to say things. They're going to say something that may hurt my feelings. And I have to be more willing to allow people to just, come in and out of my life and not take it so damn personal. Because the friends that I have at this day, where I'm age 40, are so different than the friends that I had when I was age 35 or age 30 or age 25. You go back and you look at the revolving door of people that come in and out of your life, and there are people that will be there for the longer term, but that number is going to be very few.
It is. It really is. I was telling you, I had friends in high school. Of all those friends in high school, I still only talk to maybe one or two on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
But those friends that I do still have from there, like I ran into my buddy Joey just a few weeks back, or actually no, it was about a month or two now. And I randomly ran into him and his wife when I was out eating dinner.
Yep.
And we sat down. I hadn't seen him in 4 years. And it was just like no time had passed, ran up, gave him the biggest hug, gave his wife the biggest hug, sat and talked with him for like 20 minutes and, asked him how the kids were, just caught up talking about everyday stuff. And it was wonderful to have him. And, those small friends that you get for the long haul, those are going to be the ones that you can really lean on when you need, you know. But you're right. You do get a revolving door of friends throughout your life. Some of them stick around. Some of them don't. It's just part of being human, part of the way we are. Sometimes you'll drift apart. Like I have friends from college that I didn't know in high school, because I didn't know who they were. But then you find these people, especially after high school, you get into parts of your lives where you're more specialized in your interests, in what you do for a living. And you find people that are like, that's the cool thing about going to college in band, is like you finally arrived with a whole lot of people who are just as nerdy as you are.
Yes.
And then you just gel with them. Like I've actually have one of my college band friends in the chat room, and I talk to her, gosh, several times a week. She even raided with us this week.
She did, and she did a great job.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is that those people are going to be there, but there are going to be a small number. The other part is going to be kind of the more revolving door, because your life changes, their life changes. It doesn't always stay the same. You could be work friends. You don't work together anymore. The thing you had in common is gone. You used to run in this circle of people. Your interests shifted. You don't do that anymore. So you just don't have that thing in common anymore.
Yeah. Or you get married, you start having kids. All these life events will change your circle of friends.
Right.
New job, old job, all that stuff.
So I think what Zytam might want to think about is that there is a revolving door in your life of people that come in and out based on where you are at that point in your life. The thing that I'm a little more concerned about with your email is that you're not seeming to want to let more people back into the the revolving. They're drifting out, but you're afraid to put yourself out there to bring them back in. And that is going to be more of a challenge. And that is why I feel like, and I'm extrapolating, and I apologize if I'm wrong, but from the email, I feel like you're already setting yourself up with the, I'm not good enough, they won't like me anyway, I'm not worthy of having these friends, to reject them before they would ever have a chance to reject you. And so then, without ever putting yourself out there, you miss 100% of the shots you never take.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you shoot and you miss, at least you took a shot. If you never take the shot, you'll never miss and you'll never win. So if you're in two of the largest guilds, I believe that he was in AIE and CTR, which is, there are large guilds. There's a lot of people, which means more opportunity, but also means more isolation if you don't put yourself out there.
Exactly.
So I just feel like there are some small calculated risks that you can take in terms of connecting with people. Self-promotion, but the Pen Pal program is there for just this purpose.
Sure.
That's why I put it together. That's why the idea came to me in the shower one day of saying these are people who are looking for other folks who are like them, who are playing World of Warcraft, and that it may be a hit or miss thing. You may get a pen pal that doesn't connect with you at all, because we're not screening for high level. We're screening at the very highest level of criteria. We're not digging in to look at under the hood of the car there. It's just, what age are you? Where do you live? How many times do you want to write? It's the very, very, very general stuff. So you may hit and you may miss. And that's why we're doing it again, is because we've had a lot of people who said, you know what? Love the first hit, it missed. So let's try it again.
Yeah.
And that is what it's all about. So, and that is when you think about wanting to raid, and you want it, or, simply getting into our chat room tonight, there are people who are talking about a number of different things. They're talking about their high school reunions. They're talking about how many friends they had in high school. They're talking about friendships in general. Some are still talking about the previous discussion. If you just jump in and start conversing with some of them, adding your opinion or asking someone theirs, it starts a conversation.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked about this before. If there is no other thing that people like to talk about more than themselves most of the time.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. Marconin, what is your favorite color?
Orange.
Why?
Because it's the only color that's also a fruit.
See,
and don't say grape, because that doesn't count. Grape doesn't count.
Grape is not a fruit. No, it is a fruit, but it's not a color.
It is a fruit, but it's not a color. That's purple. That's purple, red, or green.
So I just learned a little bit about Marconin by asking him a question. And I could ask him another question that would be deeper. And we do this all the time with Tell Us One Thing, but this is the example, is if you are connecting with people and asking them questions about, and not creeper questions, Marconin, do you sleep with underwear on? I mean, that would be a creeper question. So
that would be a very creeper question.
Yes.
Only one person knows the answer to that question.
That's you.
Yeah.
See, and so we just did the example of good question and bad question.
I don't really want the rest of the internet to know those kinds of details.
I know.
So.
That's why I went to the extreme, honey, because doing the extreme. And it made you blush in the process, so that's even better.
Oh, well, I bet it did. I can feel it.
Okay. So fear of rejection is a very real thing.
It is very strong.
It's horrible. It's a very difficult and scary thing to do. But to put yourself out there for somebody, to connect with them and share things about yourself and hope that they're going to accept you for who you are. And then having the situations where people are just like, I'm not feeling connected to who you are. And then it just and it drifts away for whatever reason. People are usually pretty kind about it, which they don't say anything, or they don't tell you the truth, or they just make up some excuse as to why they're not coming over anymore. And it's hard. We've all felt it. We've all been through it several times, probably multitudes of times in our lives. I mean, I've had people tell me after being friends with them that I was a horrible person, that I've had that told to me. I mean, it's horrible to be rejected like that, Yeah. And because people don't always understand each other, you just have to pick yourself up and move on. You just have to keep going. And look for someone else that you are going to connect with, because otherwise you could choose to be by yourself, you could choose to be alone, but nobody really seems to want that, especially Zytam doesn't seem to want that. So And you've picked the best chat room around, I think, to come in and hang out with, because they're the most supportive people that I know.
They really are.
So they certainly will be, and there are people from AIE in here. There are people from CTR in here, and if there are things that you need, they would help you. I know they would. So I would say, in the closing, counseling would definitely help this. It would. And I do think it is something that a counselor can help you to break down some of the reasons why you're resistant to feeling comfortable with talking to people. And maybe it is something that is, some kind, there are people who have something beyond just social anxiety. And it is something, there are things you can do to teach, but if you have some forms of the spectrum of autism, it can be a lot harder. Asperger's is a big one, where you just don't understand social cues. You don't know how someone is acting. It's tough. But if you can find people who are super understanding about who you are and how you react to things, it can make a big difference. So I would say counseling would be a big help. But it's a matter of how you can prioritize it in your life. I would say most definitely I encourage going to counseling to a good counselor, because it is worth the investment in yourself.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
And as Zytem actually said in the chat room, he said, friendship seems so easy for most people. It seems so hard for me. And it can for varying degrees, but a good, true, strong friendship is just like any other relationship with another imperfect human being. It's hard and it takes work. And I know something I wanted to at least touch on was when you were talking about how your friends sometimes forget about you on the things. That's happened to me. That's happened to me with family, and it does hurt.
Yeah.
But I travel and I work third shift most of the year, as you probably know. So I understand the situation a bit. And it's hard when you are disconnected in some ways by work or by travel from your family and friends, because, it is kind of an out of sight, out of mind thing. They may not intend it. They almost all the time don't. But, it's just, it slips the mind. You're like, hey, should we invite him? And you just don't think about it.
Yeah.
So in the instances with your real life friends, I would say, if you can't be with them physically, and a lot of times, reach out to them more, contact them, make the first step yours. Don't, it kind of, it makes you feel bad when they don't make the first step. Well, sometimes you have to make the first step.
Right.
You've called them, hey, dude, I know we haven't hung out in a while. You want to grab some drinks? Whatever day. Do you want to go bowling this day? Hey, you want to do something? You want to come over? Let's hang out, do something,
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be the instigator of the friendship, and it's not usually, it's not anything personal. It's just them, they've got their lives and they don't think about it and all that stuff. So it's, that's just something I wanted to address in that.
It's a great point too. I had a friend here in someone who I met because I was playing poker a lot. Kane and I used to go and play poker like a couple times a week for free tournaments and that kind of thing. And we met a bunch of people, started hanging out with them. And there was a girl who I used to play with a lot. And she and I started to hang out after, different times, go to see a movie here or there. But she was the most unreliable person when it came to making plans. She'd say, hey, we should go see a movie, or we should go get together. And I would make the plans, and then she'd flake out at the last minute. Something's come up, and it was all, I don't care. all the time. If it's like once or twice, it was all the time. And Kane just said to me, she is just never going to be there for you when you want her to be. And I keep making plans and having to cancel them. And it literally got to the point where I was making plans with her, and then I would know she'd call me the day before and tell me something can't come up and she can't go. Like, I would plan around that, and then it was just like, I just stopped responding to her phone calls to make plans because it just became that, and I didn't want it. So It was frustrating, and that's what it was. But I made the effort to try to make plans at some points, and then she'd be like, oh, well, we'll figure something out. And then she would make the plans, and then she'd cancel them. That's how she worked. So you have to, you got to look at making an effort on your side, how much of an effort you tend to make towards that, how much they make an effort back to you. You can say and make promises and all that kind of stuff. That's great. But if they're not really coming back around to respond, it doesn't make a big difference there. So, working the weird hours, it might require you to just be more on the ball to say, hey, wanting to go out to the bar, whatever you guys like to do, let's go see a movie, let's plan on this day and see who comes through. And
you really got to plan ahead with stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's hard, and I hope that he'll have some opportunities to he did say in the chat room that he is signing up for the Pen Pal program, so hopefully we'll get you matched up with somebody who is similar to you and feels comfortable talking. And if not, then we'll do it again and you can find somebody else. So, but at the same time, you have a lot of opportunities in the guilds that you're in if you're looking to join. Look for, a lot of them are putting together impromptu groups for things, like running for the Apexis dailies or going to run some heroics. Get a group together or look for somebody who is putting something like that together, and maybe just put a little bit of a social thing out there. Hey, how's everybody going? How's it going today, everybody? How's everybody doing? How's your day been? And it could start from there.
Whole giant conversations start from one simple question.
They do.
Especially in the mega guilds. Definitely.
Yeah, there was a huge conversation going on today about esports versus regular sports and why esports shouldn't be called esports and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it went on for 25 minutes while I was doing my garrison chores and just kept going. So
yeah,
it just kept going and kept going and kept going. So in any case, ITAM, we wish you a lot of luck. There are a lot of people in the chat room who will be there to support you as well, and I know that because I'm seeing it right now. So, and we thank you for the email. We think you can do this. So I think, we know
you can do it.
Get some credit in there for yourself. So, and if you guys have questions for the show, would like to ask us something for the podcast, you can do that at questions@taurenThinkTank.com. That's our email address. That's where you can send your letters. You can send feedback. You can send questions. You can send anything you want over to us. We like questions and letters. So, all right, Mark Honan, you ready to stretch your legs a little bit? We've got some Tell Us One Thing.
Absolutely.
All right.
We read your submissions because reading your mind would just be creepy.
Start us off, sir.
This one is from our good friend Shield Spec. Imagine that you need to perform in a talent show for charity. What is your act? It can be as silly as you like.
Oh, Lord.
What are you going to do?
Talent show, huh?
Yeah.
Oh man, I think I think if it was the two of us, we'd do some kind of skit of some sort. I think that's what we'd have to do. It'd be it would have to be some kind of silly skit with voices and costume changes and all of that. I mean, in the talent shows that I did as a kid, I was, there was singing, there was skits. One of the funniest ones, and it's on videotape. It's on actually VHS videotape, so I don't even know if I can get it off of there. But when so I was raised Jewish, and I had my sister and I both had our bat mitzvah parties, big ones, huge thing with a DJ and big party with family and all that stuff. And at my sister's bat mitzvah, I wound up doing we did a skit from the Little Shop of Horrors, the dentist song.
Uh-huh.
We acted that out.
Oh, that's awesome.
And danced and did all that stuff. So that's probably something I would probably do. There you go.
Yeah.
Dancing sharks. Travis Dresden just said. Dancing sharks, really?
Yep. I'd probably just play trombone and play something on it. That's probably what I would do, and maybe do. I would incorporate it into my act and like do voices and stuff, but play music. One of the coolest things I ever saw on YouTube is I forgot his name, but the guy who played Biff Tannen on Back to the Future. He actually was a tuba player, and if you go, it's on I think it's the Tonight Show. I think it's David Letterman, or it's either David Letterman or Jay Leno, one of the two. Like actually, it might be Johnny Carlin. No, anyway, it's one of the late night shows. He actually does his comedy skit with a sousaphone, and it was one of the funniest things I'd seen because he played Tom Wilson.
Oh,
Tom
there
Wilson's
you go.
his name. Thank
there
you,
you
Navox. I knew it was Tom something, but yeah, and it was that maybe that kind of thing, like a comedy band nerd thing with voices. I think that's what that would be.
I think that would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
From Sparrowhawk 1, if you have... I can't talk today. You have unlimited funds and time to create a dinner. However, you have to do all the cooking yourself. What do you make?
Chicken ramen.
Chicken ramen.
No, I'm kidding. Water, microwave, sprinkle the powder, done.
Unlimited funds for dinner, and you'd make...
Well, I would keep the unlimited funds for myself minus the 30 cents it takes to get the ramen. No, I really like seafood. So it would be some really awesome like crab legs and lobster tail and scallops,
yes.
and like a garlic whipped mashed potatoes and fried green beans with ranch on the side. Oh, that's so good.
That sounds awesome.
Pretty much all my favorite things, and then more seafood. That's kind of what I would do, you know.
I would probably do some kind of like, I would learn how to do something really decadent, like rack of lamb or something.
Ooh.
Or a crown roast or something really good. I know how to make really good oven ribs, like good, pork ribs, that kind of stuff. So I'd probably do that too. And I would have to steal Arcane's recipe for cornbread because it's awesome. And yeah, I know Marconin his eyes just rolled in the back of his head because you're already hungry.
I'm already hungry.
Talking about cornbread.
And now I have to deal with this.
I know.
Oh,
oh, dude.
Thanks, Sparrowhawk. My stomach is probably almost audibly grumbling right now.
2020 site in the chat room just said, Jules, if you made me rack of lamb, I might propose and then Kane would hate me. Well, you know what? I could learn how to make a good ribeye too. That'd be cool.
Oh man.
I'm sorry. All right, we're talking about food. Read the next one.
Since we're on the subject of food, if you'd like to send in your Tauren Taste Tank, feel free to contact us at questions@torrentThinkTank.com.
Marconin is really itching to do a taste tank.
I haven't
really
done one
is.
yet.
I know. So
it's been a while.
If you guys have stuff that you want us to do for a taste tank, it's got to be like whacked out weird stuff. Nothing that's gonna make us barf, but
please no.
Yeah. But something that would be really funky to try. You've heard what we've done in the past. They were pretty damn funny. So. And if not, then we're probably just going to go and start looking for it ourselves so Marconin can experience what this is. It is an experience, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. All right. Next up, this one's from Memonth. Oh, no. Someone kidnapped Chief Vol'jin and asked for 1 million gold ransom. How would you earn the gold to pay in time?
So at this point, what I would do is, no one knows what the ransom time is. I would probably go and have all of the alts I could leveled up to a point where I could mine and herb and get all of the primal spirits I could to sell. What's the blood thing?
Savage blood?
Savage blood. That thing makes like 500 gold a pop.
Yeah, it does.
So I would just be like 500 gold a pop on all these characters, and just be trying to buy and sell on the auction house. I would just try and learn. I don't have the time to do it now, so.
I can teach you some of my ways.
Yes,
I
you
can make a
could.
little
You're
bit.
pretty good at this stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of learning as I go as far as that goes. But oh, what would I do? I'd start dancing on a mailbox. That would I think that would be the quickest way.
We could make this into an event. We could be like Marconin on a mailbox, and everyone would have to be throwing gold at him in order to make him stop. You know?
Yeah. And especially with 6.1 coming out, when you get the little jukebox things in your garrison, we can keep changing tracks. 1,000 gold to change the music. All that kind of thing. 500 gold to make me stand on my head. All that kind of stuff. I think it would be a nice charity event. I think that would work.
That would be great. And
we could hold it in like Tauren so both factions can come.
Oh, see? It'd be like
because I know the Horde would be like throwing money left and right, and so
Look at the gnome.
or I could just say 1,000,000 gold to punt me, so you can punt the gnome for 1,000,000 gold.
Yeah, that could.
There you go.
We could take a gnome punting contest on that one.
It would be the one time I would sanction a gnome punting.
For yourself.
Well, for any gnome, I don't like gnome. Those are my people you're punting.
For any gnome, and then there'd be people who would be like, "I volunteer for tribute."
Yeah, exactly.
I volunteer as tribute for Chief Fulton. I don't even know him, but I'd volunteer as tribute. Oh, that's great. From the creepy one, you hit the daily triple T goal on your Patreon. What's one of the first things you guys do besides thanks? That's our top level on our Patreon, which is like $10,000 a month, which, by the way, is like, it's kind of a joke that it's even on there. So let me just put it there. When I started putting the Patreon together, I went out and I was looking at all of the other podcasts that had one and what they were doing with it. And that was like the common thing, is like they had this massively high goal. And it would be like, yeah, if we hit this goal, man, we're quitting our jobs and we're doing this full time. It was totally a joke. But for some reason, I thought people would totally think, yeah, that was funny. And sometimes we got some feedback from people who are like, oh, yeah, you guys think you're... No, I don't think we're going to hit that goal. Are you kidding me? So it was a joke. And a lot of people do that. So anyway.
Yeah.
But let's say that, you guys come into independent wealth, all of you, and decide that it's just needing to be bestowed upon us for some crazy reason. One of the first things that we do, I know what I would be doing is I would just be like, party. I would be throwing some kind of central party somewhere, like Midwest party, like we're thinking about doing for the Warcraft movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we're doing a party. It's a big one, and and it's a triple T party. Let's go. Or maybe a party at BlizzCon.
That could work.
That's what I would do. So
yeah, I would probably I would have to just sit down and just be like, what? Like it would take me a minute to realize that had happened, and then I would probably call my boss and give him my 2 weeks, because that was the stipulation on the thing, is that we would quit our jobs, and I'd be like, okay, let's start getting the idea for our own studio together, and we'll just do it in person.
Let's get it done. Yep.
Yeah. It's like, let's get to work. If they were willing to fork over that much money for this little podcast, let's start delivering.
Oh, absolutely.
That would be my deal.
And that would be delivering even 15 times more than we can do now, because we would actually have the time. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you would get like
it's an awesome pipe dream, is what it is.
Oh, it's like what you do if you're just at work and you're asking everybody at work, what would you spend your money on if you won the lottery?
Right.
Every time the Powerball gets like 480 million. Yeah. It's like, what would you do with all that money? Oh man.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what
it's fun to think about.
I know. It's nice to have dreams.
Mm-hmm. And the next one is from Faye Mercurial. Sorry. I even worked on that before the show. Darn it. What would you play a StarCraft MMO?
I don't think I would. I'm sorry.
Why?
I don't think I would. I haven't played StarCraft because the FPS stuff is not, or not FPS, real-time strategy, RTS, is not my gig. So I don't know the storyline. I don't know the players. I'm sorry, I probably wouldn't.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think I would because I like space stuff, and I still haven't finished Wings of Liberty yet. I still need to finish playing it.
Yeah.
But I did play StarCraft a good bit when I was in high school because I started playing Command and Conquer, and then it just went to StarCraft because everybody was playing it back then.
Yeah.
And I love the story, and I love the universe that it's in, and
Yeah.
I would grab I'd be Protoss, man. I'd start out Protoss immediately. Immediately I'd be Protoss.
Okay.
And it would be awesome.
Okay. And I'm so not a StarCraft person that I don't even relate to where Protoss is. So
that's Tassadar and
okay.
and
I know.
Zeratul, because
Gotcha.
you played Heroes of the Storms, you know who those guys are.
Yes, I do. So
Yeah.
that's how much of a noob I am with StarCraft. So yeah, probably
Yeah.
not. So okay. From Salmec CTR, Cyclops or Professor X?
Professor X. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that
yeah, I would
too.
say Professor X.
Yeah. No, I would say that too. I mean, Cyclops is not, I don't know a lot about the character as much as I do about Professor X, but I think that the lore and I like the hero style of Professor X. You know, he's that kind of father figure, very powerful, but always looking for the positive stuff. You know, not trying to use his power for bad things. I don't know. And these are characters that I am not very strong on. So
yeah, and most of my opinions stem from the X-Men movies, which I know is this kind of a skewed view because Cyclops in the comic books is a very strong leader.
okay.
You know, kind of because we get this wimpy Cyclops in the movies overall, and he's kind of, take your hands off my girl and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But in the comics, he's like kind of a Captain America type figure. He's very strong and a good leader.
Okay.
But I don't know. Patrick Stewart was Professor X. I'm a Trekkie. Professor X it is.
It's
Wins.
overwhelmingly Professor X in the chat room right now with some Cyclops in there, but Professor X seems to be the top vote. So, okay then.
Yeah. All right. This next one is interesting.
Yeah.
I read this one earlier. You wake up and you're in the game. A note beside you tells you that one package on the table enables you to bring your family and loved ones into the game with you, thinking nothing is wrong, this is normal. And the other sends you back to reality. What would you do? And that one comes from Lady Birdness, a.k.a. Miranda from Kieran Tor.
See, this is where it's hard. Loved ones could be there with me in the game, but it doesn't say anything about my kitties.
Yeah.
And I gotta say,
well, I mean, they are loved ones and they are your family.
well, but I don't know because some people were
mean,
like, pets aren't family, so I don't know if that stipulation is in there.
They are for us.
I know. So for the two of us, our pets are family. So if my pets were there, my kitties were there, and everybody else, family and loved ones are there, then I'm okay with it. Because I'd probably rather enjoy life being in there, being in the game versus having to go to work where I work now. Having to deal with, I could move someplace else besides living here in cold. Yeah. So, and so Lady Birdness in the chat room did clarify pets are family. So I think I'd stay in the game. A little change of pace. I've done 40 years on this side. I could just go and try something else for a while.
Yeah, you make a good argument, but I think I would send myself back to I would. Now it says that the package. I don't have to open the package immediately.
No.
So what I could do is I could take a little tour and see how life is in Azeroth / Draenor / Outland, and then go back to reality once I've had my fill of a little bit of the world and come back to the real world. That way I can still have the real world and I can still get back in the game like I am right now.
So
Because I don't
you're
know,
just gonna say,
it
like,
would be
the package is on the table. We're gonna pretend it's not there for a while.
well. I'm just gonna. I don't have to make this decision right now. They didn't say. She didn't say that I had a gun by my head, saying, choose now. So I'm like, well, I'd go see the world for like a week, and then I'd go back because I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to have my family there, and then like the next big bad guy from the next expansion comes,
Yeah.
and levels the house. Then then where are we?
Yeah.
So I'd rather have them. If we're ever gonna do that, I'd rather it be a game,
Okay.
and then just go back into the game and
Have
enjoy
the
it as
two
I am
separate
now.
worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's a neat idea, and it's
Yeah.
like I said, I thought about it a lot, and you made a good argument for staying in, for sure.
Well, it's just, I'm always up for something different, and it's
Mhm.
hard. It's hard to just pick up and move without having to uproot so much and change so much and have to plan ahead. This is literally like you wake up and you're there, and this is your situation. So you just
Yeah.
stay there or you don't. And so, yeah, it's a question that I would say would be giving me some pause. Like, if I could literally just be like, everything has been transplanted for you and you are moving now to San Diego, I would be like, yay. I don't have to plan all of this stuff. But
Exactly. Yeah.
seriously. Next one. What book would you like to be a character in? And this is from Trellant.
Oh man. It's kind of a there's two of them that are jumping right out, and that one of them is the one of them's the Dresden Files, of course, because I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of that series. Although it's what kind of character would I be? Would I be one of those people that get killed off in a book or two, or something like that? What would I because there's always a risk of if you're in that book, are you going to get written out real
Yeah,
quick?
exactly.
Are you going to be a central character? And the other one, going back to junior high, I'd like to be in Animorphs. I'd like to be in the
Oh.
Animorph series.
Okay.
I'd like to be one of the people that can change into animals because I thought that was awesome.
Okay.
It's an awesome idea.
That's really cool.
So,
2020
really fantastic.
site in the chat room just took mine. It's the Harry Potter books.
Oh, that's a good
I
choice.
was like Harry Potter all the way because, man, you could be a wizard or a witch, and it's so cool. That world is something I would love to live in.
Oh yeah, Tub Stout's got it right. I'd like to be an Andalite from the Animorph series.
Animorph series, yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Very, very cool. Yeah, no, that's a
good choice.
My first thing too is I thought about Ready Player One because the idea of living in the world of Ready Player One, where you pretty much you live inside the virtual world. Everybody does. Yeah. But the outside world is so tragic and destroyed and run down that I would never want that. I would never want it to be forced upon you because that's your only escape from being in your own reality.
Yeah.
So
that's what made me not pick Ready Player One as well.
Yeah.
Because that thought crossed my mind too.
But the world that they've created inside the virtual world is just amazing. So you're just like, man, that would be so cool to be able to do that. But yeah, if you haven't read Ready Player One, you got to do that, and you're going to be recording something soon for that for Realm of Books, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, and if you guys hadn't already heard, Realm of Books is being relaunched, and Arcane is now part of the team, the hosting team, and Mark Honan comes in regularly when he can make it. So, yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. You should check them out, Realm of Books. I think it's realmofbooks.com is their new email address.
I think so, yeah. Rayanne does a good job over there.
She does. Rayanne, man, she's been kicking butt. She's been relaunching and getting everything together and getting it all together. So check it out. Very cool. And finally, last one. You want to read the last one?
Sure. This one comes from Kitlin. World of Warcraft has a crossover instance with another MMO. Which MMO would you choose?
Crossover instance with another MMO.
Yeah.
Another MMO that would be... close to World of Warcraft. So that'd be like, well, Rift if it was still around. Elder Scrolls, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
EverQuest. I haven't played EverQuest. I played a little bit of Rift. I think, I actually probably would say Rift for what I saw of it, and I only played just a little bit of it, but they're outside boss type things where you were actually fighting a Rift, and the things that spawned out of it and all that stuff. It was like a world boss type of thing would be pretty cool. So I would say Rift, even though I don't think it exists anymore. So if it does, then it's in free to play mode.
I thought you would have gone with your old stomping ground, City of Heroes.
Yeah, City of Heroes just never did it right in terms of an instance. I mean, their instances were so cookie cutter. It was the same like building every single time, or it was the same. It was like the same 3 buildings that they had. So I think they could do it, but it was so lame. It was all trash mobs. That's all it was. It was never a boss. It was tough. So
yeah, until WoW really like established the formula, it was kind of a poke around in the dark for a lot of MMOs, even though, I mean, EverQuest did a really good job of it too back then too. But yeah, it was, they were testing out all these different things. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough question. I don't know if I couldn't really come up with a good one. Sorry, Kitlin.
Yeah. Yeah, I would, I would just go all out. I would have I'd have it cross over with my old stomping grounds and Matrix Online.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I actually have this idea for like commissioned art to have Markonnen and then Archduke, my character from Matrix Online, like standing with their arms crossed back to back. Of course, you have a human and then a gnome, so it's like back to the back of his knees. So it's like all weird looking. But to have this have like the Matrix be an instance in WoW, it would be different because it would be all this like, instead of a telephone booth, it'd be like a goblin shack with a dish on it and chance of explosions. And, the agents would be dudes in tuxedos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be different, but I think you could play around with it. There'd be, cool. It'd be a stretch for sure, but yeah, I'd have fun in it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, that is doing it for Tell Us One Thing this evening. And if you want to send yours in, we have them on Thursdays on our Twitter account, which is at Tauren Think Tank. You can do that then. You can send them in earlier questions at TaurenThinkTank.com or to our Twitter or to our Facebook page, which is Facebook.com/TaurenThinkTank. All right, it's time for us to talk about some feedback that we've received this week.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now bring you... Wow, that's a lot of feedback.
There's a lot of feedback in here. All right, we have an update for this week. And I'm sad to say it's not the best one. But we have heard from Nevar for a couple of weeks when we met him with our episode with Anthony Bean. We heard an update last week on the show. Things were going better. We did receive an update that isn't so good. An update for you. I have had a hard time. I found out my wife is pregnant. I moved back home only to find more of the same abuse. I did my best to tell her I was there for her, but in the end, I lost me. On February 15th, I tried to take my life as I no longer felt I was good for anyone or anything. While I was in the hospital, my therapist said she could no longer see me. The family member I stayed with before said I was not welcome this time, as they felt I was a danger to them. I have never tried to hurt anyone but me. Luckily, I have a friend that opened his couch to me. I hope to stay strong and out of danger from how I feel from her. But it's so hard when you feel your heart crying. But for now, I'm here, and I hope to get back in the game, but I only have a Microsoft Surface. I thought about making a FundMe and see if I could get help to get a laptop, but that makes me feel selfish. I just don't know. But /moo to you both. I am sorry this is a down letter, but you two read my letter with such kindness, I wanted to let you know. From Nevar. And Nevar, we were able to correspond with him. He is actually in the chat room this evening, and I'm very happy to see him here tonight.
Yes.
We had heard about the situation, and we are so grateful that you are still here with us. And things are tough. They're not good, I know, but they will get better. And you have the ability to do that. And, we got a chance to email him and just let him know that we're here and that our audience is here. So we want to make sure that you stay with us. And they're all giving you positive messages right now. Hang in there. We're here for you. So it's suicide is, I know, some of the hardest things in the world when you think that there's nothing left. But you now have a family that loves you. Even if your family, who your wife may not be getting along, but you have a child coming, and they need your father. They need their father. So,
yeah.
As LL says in the chat room, please don't leave us. Please don't. All right, so let's get into a little bit of our feedback from tonight. Do you want to read the first one? This one made me giggle.
Oh yeah. This one is from Branmar. Wow. Whenever I hear Cat on Fire, the Alicia Keys song Girl on Fire plays in my head, and all I think is, this cat is on fire.
That one hasn't been heard more than once, right? I think about it too. Like I think I did that a couple times when we first did that. Cat on Fire. Cat on fire, man. Cat on fire. Yeah. I love that name. It'll never go away because I love that name so much. They were thinking about changing it when we kind of put the team on hiatus and we were going to bring it back. And I'm like, no, Cat on Fire needs to stay.
Foot goes down.
Cat on Fire. So, oh man. So yeah, that was the best. Do you want to read the next one?
Sure. Games provide many different kinds of memories, from running through a vast corridor with 59 friends towards a boss, or the cringe as another Frogger croaks. Sorry, Frogger. But the moments that make me think are fewer. In Neverwinter Nights, there was a mystery side quest to solve, and I spent a lot of time investigating to get it right. I did, and I told the Justice Angel being that everyone is fallible. She replied, "Even you, hero?" And I spent the rest of the day thinking about the assumptions I had as playing the game, or the assumptions I had been playing this game with. Neverwinter Nights also brought me one of the rare moments of real anger. In Scene 1, you rescue a blundering lord, a well-meaning, gentle, sweet man who couldn't punch or talk his way out of a paper bag, but had won the heart of the lady paladin general that I had admired. At the end of Scene 1, spoiler, the mission went awry, and the king of Neverwinter has this man branded as a scapegoat and lets him be lynched by angry mobs. I was furious. I nearly stopped playing right then, and I was a paladin, so on very thin ice already. Vengeance was what got me through it, but it was a powerful game moment. And that came from Dasamin.
And that's the types of things that gaming can... If it evokes that kind of emotion where you're just like, oh my gosh, you can't do that. Oh, I know that I never played Neverwinter Nights, but I can totally see how that would be affecting to go through that. I'm currently playing a game right now that's come through Steam. It's called Life is Strange. And if you're interested in games like the Telltale games have been doing, where you do point and click and decision making and kind of exploring the world and looking and getting the clues, it's very much like that. And the decisions that you make in this game affect future things that are about to happen. And it will tell you this is a decision that will affect you later. And I'm always worried about what I'm doing. Am I gonna? And it's based off of this high school girl who has this power to reverse time.
Ooh,
it's really cool. So you can answer a question, and then she'll say, maybe I should have answered that differently. Maybe I should reverse time and do it again. And you reverse time, and you go back and you answer it the other way, and then you decide which way you want to go, because you could have let that girl get bullied by somebody, or you could let her stand up for her, and then the bully goes after you. And it's very deep. I'm loving it. It's called Life is Strange, by the way.
I have to pick that up.
Yeah. So check it out. It's got episodes in it, so I think only the first episode is out right now.
Okay.
Super cool. You explore all it. There's really no action in it. You're just exploring and making moves and that kind of stuff. So, and making choices. So, I at one point there was a pivotal point that just came through, and Kane heard me gasp, and he goes, "What?" And I'm like, just a cool part of the story. Like, I was totally into it. And I looked at the time, and it was like, oh, it's dinner time. I got to go. So, but I want to finish playing it. I might actually finish playing it tonight. So,
cool.
Anyway, the games like that, I love. I love that kind of thing. So, yeah, most definitely. And our last feedback question. Sorry to hear about the problems with your mother-in-law, Jules. I had a similar problem with what I thought was a very close friend that no longer is. I can understand your pain. I wanted to comment about what you had said about your stepdaughter. You refer to her as your stepdaughter, and it applies to your situation, but you mentioned that she called you mom when she said sorry, mom, to you. Being a stepchild, I can understand the difficulties of being in a family like that. I would like to recommend to you that you don't refer to her as your stepdaughter. Just daughter is enough. Most people probably wouldn't know any better, and most people wouldn't need to know either. My dad, or stepdad, as it would apply to this, always referred to me as just his son. It always made me feel good because I never had any relationship with my biological father. I always referred to my dad, to everyone I know, as my dad. He always tried his best to be a good father to me, as I'm sure you do for your daughter. I feel like putting the step label on the relationship undermines the relationship. I can't relate to what being a parent in a non-biological child is like, but I would imagine that the love that the two of you share is similar to that between my dad and me. We also have so many similarities that it shocks people to find out he's not my biological father. From the stories you share about your daughter and you, I would hope that you share the same experience with your daughter. I have 2 girls of my own. Now the oldest is a teen, so I understand the difficulty of being a parent. It may be a difficult chore, but I know from my experience that not being labeled as a stepson always made me feel good and wanted and accepted. I hope for the best for you and your family, and maybe someday your mother-in-law will come around so you can have a healthy relationship. Thanks for the great show. I've looked forward to it every week since it started. I'm also leveling a shaman on Airy Peak Alliance called Joe Kane, and I'd like to join CTR. Who do I need to talk to? From Joe. Well, first of all, Joe, you can go and check out converttoraid.com and click on guild, and that's how you sign up for the application, and then you get in. That's how it's super easy. Get people who
really easy process.
Very, very easy process. So that's super easy. I really liked this email, and I appreciated it very much. And I wanted to explain the difficulty that I have in the situation is that Kiddo's mom does not like me very much either. She's not a fan of who her ex-husband decided to marry. And so she had a real problem with me becoming her stepmom. And so when I started dating Kane, she was 3 years old and she's 12 now. And I always told her from the beginning that you can call me whatever you want in terms of name. You can, whatever you, and when she was 5, she just said, I want to call you mom. And I said, that's fine. And sometimes she calls me by my real name. Sometimes she calls me mom, but I don't care because it's her choice. And I want to make sure that it's really clear to her that I'm not trying to take her mom's place, that I understand that I'm her stepmom, that I get that I'm not just, that she has a mom. And so and that's why I try to use the label to make sure that I let her know that it's a balancing act. And it's hard when you're a step parent, man. It is really hard. So, but I think of her as ours. She is our child. We're responsible for raising her. And so, and she has decided to call me mom. But I also don't want to, in front of her mother, when her mother is here, she will not call me mom because her mother gets so upset about that.
Yeah, and that's like a sign of that's a sign of respect towards her mom.
Right.
For her mom. So.
Yeah, and Zan in the chat room said, my opinion is that the matter would be to ask Kiddo what she would want you to call her, and I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, Kiddo is the name I use for her all the time anyway. That's just her name that I call her all the time anyway, which is why it works well for this. But I treat her like my child the best I can. It's challenging for me because I never planned to have children when I never wanted to have kids. And I met the guy who had the kid and fell in love with him and wanted to have a life with him. So yeah, it was tough.
Yeah.
But so it's still a challenge that I run into, and it was good food for thought. This letter was really good for me. So
yeah, and as long as Kiddo knows that you love her and that
yeah,
you care about her, then it doesn't, because I know it would, especially in Joe's situation, it did make him feel more accepted.
Right.
But I think as long as she knows that you got her back, which, as evidenced from earlier this week, she does know that you've got her back.
Right.
Then it should be okay, no matter what you call her.
Yeah, and it's a challenge. She's got some complicated situations with her families, and so we try to figure it out the best we can and just be good parents the best we can with what we've got. So it's all you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And deal with the strife that happens between the exes. So, because it's not the most positive relationship in the world, but we try to make it work for her sake.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I tell you, something else having families. So with that, we're going to give some positive and loving feedback to people who have earned it with the slash moos. All right. Start off.
All right. From Memeth /Moo for @ZephAIE, who helped me get Mimron's head. Now to help her get it. That's awesome. Yay! That's awesome, Memeth. Congrats. I am working so hard to get Mimron's head. I want it so bad. Stupid
You're like,
mount won't.
I want this now.
I know.
And Zeph AIE says /Moo to a great friend that got an awesome mount. Time well spent.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome. From Draven Dresden /Moo to my in real life IRL brother for picking up a few items at Cleveland Comic-Con for me. And he says it's a Doctor Who poster and the Crow Funko Pop figure.
They were really cool. He sent us a picture of that.
Yeah.
From Al the Mage /Moo to Ro Wow, Revan Dawn, Mark Honan, and Midnight for some awesome Heroes of the Storm action last night.
Yeah. And this one's from Nevar Impossible /Moo to Caspin, and to you both. I am going through a lot, and you have not turned me away.
You're very welcome.
Yes,
and
you're welcome, Nevar.
From Aminator /Moo to my father-in-law, who lost his battle with cancer this week. You will be forever in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, happy and sad.
Yeah.
We thank you for your /Moos. We ask them for you on the day of the show, which is normally Saturdays, and you can send them over to our Twitter. It's at Tauren Think Tank, and you can send it to our email, which is questions@taurenThinkTank.com. That's where you find us. That's where you can message us, get in touch with us, and let us more. Let us have more information from you. Blah. I'm just losing it. It's just done. I'm losing the way to talk anymore. So that makes the show for tonight. You can listen to us on iTunes, on Stitcher Radio. Once I get my crap together, you can listen to us on the live stream at Alpha Geek Radio, which is tunein.alphageekradio.com. I apologize that we didn't have it available tonight because my system is not set up right. I need to fix that.
Still's got some bugs in the system.
I do got some bugs in the system. So my friend Kalani is probably going to get a phone call from me. he is my hero. And if you like the show and want to give us a review on iTunes or Stitcher or any place that you listen to us, we would most appreciate it. Thank you so much. Marconin, what's going on with you? Anything this week that you want to promote, pimp, talk about?
Well, I like we said earlier, I am going to be sitting down and recording with Kane and Rayanne for the continuation and finishing of the Ready Player One discussion for Realm of Books.
Nice.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Lovely.
So it's going to be a good time. I need to brush up on the last third of the book tomorrow so I can get my head in the game again. Trying to think what else. Not really anything else.
Okay.
I'm going to be doing my last tour with Cat on Fire on Monday for the foreseeable future until I get off of the travel.
Yeah.
So we'll have one more raid night, one more time for voices and jokes about hands and digits and things like that.
Right.
Hilarity will ensue as it always does.
Right.
And yes, Tanker One, I think is Realm of Books on Stitcher. I know it used to. Yeah, I know the older episodes are.
I believe that Rayanne placed it back up there. So
okay.
Yeah, I believe it's up there. So check it out. Realm of Books is the name. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's as far as I can think. That's all for me for this week. Okay. What about you?
Just keep checking out I Remembered It Better if you like geek nostalgia. That's the other show that I do with Revan Geek and Ryan Allgood. We have a great time talking about all things geek nostalgia. We did I watched The Last Starfighter, which is the first time that I had seen that movie, and it was quite an interesting discussion. So we had a good time talking about it. But we talk about all the things that are out there that are currently the stuff they're bringing back, the stuff that they're doing with Star Wars, all of it. And it's called I Remembered It Better. Check it out on iTunes or Stitcher, or I Remembered It Better. It's iribetter.com is the website for that. So that is my other show that I do. And with that, it is time to bring this show towards its ending point. Yes, let's do it. I'm going to make sure that I put the volume at the right point, though. Let's do that. That's better. Tauren Think Tank is a proud member of the Signals Media All-Star Network. Find out more about the other great shows in the network by going to signalsmedia.com.
Our voiceovers are done by two uber mages, Arcane and myself, Marconin.
Yay.
You can find us outside of the show on our website, and that's at taurenThinkTank.com, which has all of our podcasts and information on how you can get in touch with us. Also, don't forget, you can get Triple T t-shirts at slashloot.com. We've got 3 designs to choose from in various different colors, and they're awesome.
They are awesome. And we thank you to our patrons. We've got a bunch more this week, and thank you guys so much. The show will always be free, and your support helps us to do even more. If you would like to become a patron of the show, you can do that at patreon.com/TaurenThinkTank.
You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TaurenThinkTank. On Twitter, you can find the show at TaurenThinkTank. Find Jules at JulesRPG and myself at Marconin Wow. You can also chat with us on our forum, so go ahead and give those boards some love. And where are they, you ask? Oh, I'm glad you asked. They're at forums.signalsmedia.com. So check them out.
They asked, even though you didn't hear them ask.
It's the power of the internet, Jules. The power of the internet.
That's right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, chat room, for being with us tonight, hanging out with us every Saturday night at 9 o'clock Central Time. We're both in Central. We're going to start using that term. 9 o'clock Central Time, twitch.tv/Tauren Think Tank is our live video stream. And once I get it working, we'll have a mobile audio stream through Alpha Geek Radio, which is tunein.alphageekradio.com. We love seeing you all here with us, and we thank you for being here. Marconin, have a fabulous week. Keep feeling better, please.
Will do. And you have a fantastic week yourself, Jules.
I will. I'm going to stay warm and I'll enjoy all of that. It's my anniversary this week. It'll be 6 years on Friday. Happy anniversary, Arcane.
Awesome.
Awesome. So, for myself, for Marconin, for Arcane, for the Moo Crew, for the entire chat room, until next time, /moo, everybody.
/moo.
That's right, it is. I'm going to do... Oh, I totally messed it up again.
Tauren Think Tank. We make your problems less bad. This podcast is a part of the Signals Media All-Star Network. For more information on this and other fine shows, go to signalsmedia.com.
It's okay to stick our stuff in your ears. Really?
Really? I'm typing. In the chat room. I can't type in the chat room and do the show. It's really a bad thing for me, so I just don't do it.
That's all right. Oh,
we
man.
did it.
There we go.
We did it.
We did it.
I saw Kalani is here. Kalani, my problem is that I don't have an audio source that has my microphone and Skype that can be piped into the thing that goes to the audio stream. This thing, it's one pipe. So I need one pipe that gets both of them into one and gets it out.
Yeah, because right now it's just Jules. It's just Jules' mic that goes in the output.
Yeah, and I can't. There's no other way for in Twitch. I have my input and my output sources. Microphone and sound, which gets both of them in there. Unfortunately, it doesn't have that, and none of the options that we set up pipes that into one little pipe to go out there. So I could only hear my microphone on the Alpha King stream, which is pretty boring. So
it's just a little one-sided.
It's a little one-sided. So we'll have.
Oh, what do you think about this topic? Oh, great point. Oh, that's fantastic.
It's awesome.
You really know how to. Yeah. You really know how to. Yeah. Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Garrus is on his back like a turtle right now. He's got paws up in the air, paws up like this around his belly. Little turtle over here. So damn cute.
Just want to rub the belly.
Want to rub the belly.
It's sad because Winnie, the fluffy one, she's so soft. It's like just like so soft fur, and it's poofy, and it's just want to cuddle that cat, but she doesn't want to cuddle. She's not a cuddling cat.
Fluffy!
Exactly. Yeah, I just want to like hold her and carry her around like in that movie.
I need to go see that movie again.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fluffy. I love that so much.
Oh man, let's see, what did he say? Trying to remember.
Yep. I'm gonna type in this one. I got two keyboards here. I'll take mic and Skype to go. We can just get rid of the Mac thing if you can't route that, but right now I don't have one that takes Skype and my mic, and so
Yeah, you're right, Harley. Yeah, he's the big cat that's at my mom's. He's like near 20 pounds of muscly, awesome, lazy cat. He's a cool guy.
Lori, you have a future kitty? I didn't know this. Big poofy white. Oh, I love black and white kitties too. I've never had a black and white kitty. I've had gray ones. I've had orange ones, and now I have one that's doing this in the air.
You have a Garrus one.
He's pawing the air right now. Oh my god!
Is he asleep? Like he's dreaming?
He's a turtle. Okay, I'm snapping a picture of this because you guys have to see it.
Oh yeah,
it's so hard to see it.
You have to tweet that out or something.
Yeah. He's moving. You can't tell which end is the cat. Come on. There we go. I was trying to get the picture. Okay, it really looks like you can't tell which is his butt and which is his head. I'm going to hold it up to the chat room camera first. You can't tell which is his butt and which is his head. It's really weird. You can't tell. Here, you can see it on
All right, let me pull up the...
You can't tell where his head is.
Yeah.
Mom and Papa Jules have been here. They just can't get into the chat room. They texted me and told me that they were there. They just can't get into chat for some reason.
Oh. Now I want to go watch Kingsman again tomorrow.
Oh, I know. It was so good. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to go see it. It's awesome. So.
Hot Tub Time Machine is really funny too. I saw that earlier today.
Yeah.
Oh man. Don't go in there expecting it to be anything else than Hot Tub Time Machine Part 2.
I didn't see the first one.
It's got some pretty blue humor in it. Very blue. It's stuff I can't say, stuff I can't say, but I can laugh at. And it's there were only maybe 10 people in the theater, huge theater.
Aw,
But
so Apocalypse didn't enjoy it.
did not really enjoy Kingsman.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah. But, everybody. So Trestle is talking about it was uber great, much better than the 50 Shades of Sleep. Trestle, did you wind up going to see 50 Shades in the theater? Because last weekend, his wife was trying to get him to go see it for Valentine's Day in the theater.
It's a trap.
I mean, seriously, guys, we were getting somebody. If it was, I don't know who it was.
Who was that in the group me that was about?
Was it Megacode that said people were getting, someone in the theater next to it, the attendants going in to clean the theater were getting rubber gloved up to go in there?
Something about people hiding under blankets in the theater too. Somebody said that.
That was on my Facebook page.
Oh, that was on the Facebook page?
I saw that on my Facebook page from someone who said that there was a couple in one of those two-seater things under a blanket at 50 Shades. Ew. Ew.
Talk about dinner in a movie.
Oh.
Sorry. So sorry. I tried to hold that in for 10 seconds and I couldn't. I was like, no, I can't. This has to go out.
Do you feel better now? Do you feel like you've purged?
A little bit. But yeah, AKA Xanader or Akazanader. The church scene was a little over the top in Kingsman.
It was. But
for me, it fit within the context of the movie that, was a spy spoof that wasn't trying to take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
And oh man, the soundtrack to that movie was perfect.
Oh, gosh.
In all the scenes, it was so just
okay, I'm not going to give it away. The song that they play at the climax type thing, everybody wants you. That one. Oh, baby, give it up. No, 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 no. Baby, give it up. Give it. Oh my God, that song is one of the funniest things to see. I couldn't get there. I had to get there.
Yeah, it was.
The church scene is set to Freebird, which is even better.
Yeah,
dude.
I enjoy Colin Firth as an actor before this movie, and after this movie, it is just 10 times more. It's just he portrayed all the different, and the fight scenes were amazing, and oh man,
so good.
The camera angles.
Kratos and Nate are gonna get slapped by me, by the way, dudes. It's a climactic scene. I know we were just talking about 50 Shades, but no. No.
Yeah.
Oh,
I need to see it again. It's so funny. I was like, as soon as the day that's going to be one, I really don't see movies more than once because I'll just remember everything about them. But that one, I'm going to buy that one.
Oh yeah.
The day it comes out, it's like, give me my money. Here, take my money.
Do you think that they can do a sequel?
They have already said. Matt Vaughn said that if they do a sequel, it's not it.
Okay, don't give anything away.
It's no spoilers. But the sequel, there's an idea for a sequel.
Okay. All right. So it's
and
possible, but
they have some things that they could do to make a sequel happen, which make me go, oh, well, maybe they could, kind of thing where I want you to go. I'm not going to spoil anything, so you go see that movie. It needs to have more.
All I want to say is thanks, Obama. Now, what
Yes.
Sam just said.
Yeah, the fireworks were awesome.
I laughed my head off. I did.
There was...
You could tell who the nerds were in the audience for certain things.
Yeah.
You could totally tell who the nerds were. Where that one guy shows up, the professor, and once people realized who the professor was, that was the best. So yeah.
And there was me and this guy behind and to the left of me. we had like this like neural connection or something because everything that I thought was friggin' hilarious, he did too.
Yeah.
Like we were always laughing at the same time, even if it wasn't with hardly anybody else. And we had this like comedic mental link.
You had the
And it was-
kindred spirit in there.
Yeah, kindred spirit in there. So it was. Oh,
That's great. All right, we should say goodbye to these nice people for the evening. And
Yeah.
I need something to drink. I am so thirsty.
mhm.
Yes. So,
And I'm going to get some food because you're talking about ribs.
see, now I get you
cornbread.
get some food.
I'm going to get some food.
All right. Well, chat room, you guys are fantastic. We love you. Thank you for being here. As
Yes, we
always,
do
your
love
fantastic discussions are always so helpful. And I'm going to go back and read some of them because I missed most of it tonight. And we'll be back next week. We'll see you next week. We got some things planned coming up. We got some cool stuff. So, yeah, we're excited. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good week. /move.
Bye, guys. /move.
/move.